Welcome back to our channel, passionate fans of daytime drama. Today is a truly beautiful day to unpack the most explosive, earth-shattering developments to ever hit the Los Angeles fashion world. Grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and prepare yourselves for a roller coaster of emotions as we break down these jaw-dropping moments. Let us dive straight into the heart of the storm. Brooke Logan Forrester's wellness retreat was originally intended to be a serene sanctuary of healing and reflection. She had departed Los Angeles feeling deeply resentful, distant, and emotionally exhausted by the chaotic events unfolding at home. Having recently declared her own sister, Katie Logan, as her #1 enemy, and having evicted her daughter, Hope, and Liam from the cabin, Brooke was a woman scorned by her own blood. She sought isolation to process the massive betrayals she felt regarding Hope's shocking defection to Logan Creations. In her mind, she was the righteous defender of the Forrester legacy, fully prepared to return to the city and demand apologies from those who had shattered her trust. However, tranquility is a fragile and fleeting illusion in the high-stakes world of Los Angeles fashion. Brooke returns to a city that is completely engulfed in a ruthless corporate warfare. As her flight touches down, she steels herself for the inevitable, difficult confrontations that await her. She fully expects to march into the Logan offices, lay down the law, and force Hope to see the devastating error of her ways. She believes her anger is entirely justified, fueled by decades of loyalty to the Forrester name and the empire she helped build alongside Eric and Ridge. Before she can even unpack her designer luggage, the catalyst for a monumental paradigm shift occurs. Her phone buzzes relentlessly with breaking news alerts, and the fashion blogs are in an absolute frenzy. Eric Forrester is holding a highly anticipated live press conference regarding his haute couture line. Brooke tunes into the live stream, expecting to see the dignified, composed patriarch delivering a measured statement about his upcoming collection. Instead, she bears witness to a grotesque, horrifying display of patriarchal arrogance that will change the course of their family history forever. On the glowing screen of her device, Eric is losing his absolute mind. The man she once loved, the grandfather of her children, is having a massive, unhinged public meltdown. His face is flushed with uncontrollable fury as he points his finger aggressively at the cameras. His voice drips with venom as he berates Hope, accusing Logan Creations of maliciously trying to steal Forrester's thunder and credit. But his words go far beyond corporate rivalry. They are deeply personal, viciously attacking Hope's character, her integrity, and her professional talent. He is publicly humiliating her daughter for the entire world to see. In that exact, horrifying moment, something inside Brooke Logan Forrester fundamentally shatters. The deep-seated resentment and anger she had been harboring toward Hope evaporates into the ether, dissolving as if it had never existed. It is instantly replaced by a fierce, primal, and utterly unstoppable maternal instinct. A mother can be furious with her child in the privacy of their home, but the moment an outsider, even a powerful, Forrester patriarch publicly attacks her flesh and blood, the rules of engagement completely and violently change. As she listens to Eric's vicious rant, the scales fall from Brooke's eyes, revealing the glaring, suffocating hypocrisy of the Forrester family. She suddenly remembers Eric's own history of defections, his glaring double standards, and his recent cruel treatment of her sister, Donna. This is the same man who just ruthlessly fired Donna, publicly humiliating her, and destroying their marriage simply because she kept Katie's secret. The Forresters demand absolute, blind, one-sided loyalty from the Logan women, yet they offer absolutely none in return when their own fragile egos are bruised. Brooke does not bother going home to rest. She immediately orders her driver to head straight to the iconic Forrester Creations building. The drive through the bustling, sun-drenched streets of Los Angeles feels like a surreal blur. Her heart is pounding against her ribs, not with anxiety or sorrow, but with a cold, calculated, and lethal fury. She is no longer a conflicted wife or a betrayed mother. She is a woman on a definitive mission. A fiercely protective mother bear whose cub has been unjustly cornered and attacked by a pack of arrogant wolves. She walks through the towering glass doors of Forrester Creations, her presence instantly altering the atmosphere in the grand lobby. The air is thick with palpable tension. Employees whisper nervously and avert their eyes, acutely aware of Eric's disastrous live stream and terrified of the impending, explosive fallout. Brooke ignores every single one of them. Her posture is rigidly straight, her chin is held high in defiance, and her designer heels click rhythmically against the pristine marble floors, echoing like the ticking of a deadly time bomb counting down to 0. With every deliberate step she takes toward the executive elevator, Brooke reflects on the decades she has spent within these walls. She is the woman who created the revolutionary belief formula that financially saved this very company. She has served as chief executive officer, navigating them through treacherous waters. She has modeled their greatest, most iconic showstoppers. She has poured her blood, sweat, tears, and youth into building and protecting the Forrester empire, and for what ultimate reward? To watch the patriarch publicly slaughter her daughter's reputation on a global livestream. She reaches the top floor, the sacred domain of the Forrester executives. She does not bother to knock. Brooke throws open the heavy, ornate wooden doors to the CEO's office with a force that startles everyone inside. Eric is pacing behind his desk, still vibrating with the residual, angry adrenaline of his unhinged press conference. Ridge Forrester is standing nearby, his face etched with stress as he attempts to manage the catastrophic public relations nightmare his father has just unleashed. Both men freeze instantly as Brooke enters the room, immediately sensing the lethal, unforgiving energy radiating from her every pore. Brooke does not yell, nor does she shed a single tear. Her absolute silence is far more terrifying and commanding than any of her previous emotional, tear-filled outbursts. She walks deliberately and purposefully across the sprawling, luxurious office, closing the distance between herself and Eric's massive mahogany desk. She maintains a piercing, icy eye contact with the patriarch, refusing to let him look away from the consequences of his cruel actions. She reaches up to the lapel of her immaculate blazer, her fingers grasping the plastic clip of her identification. In a singular, devastating motion that will forever echo through the storied halls of Forrester Creations history, Brooke unclips her employee badge. She slams it down onto the polished surface of Eric's desk with a sharp, aggressive crack. The sound cuts through the dead silence of the room like a gunshot. It is a gesture of absolute, undeniable finality, a physical and symbolic manifestation of a permanently severed tie. The badge, which represented her life, her career, and her identity, now lies discarded like worthless plastic. Brooke's voice is cold, steady, and devoid of any emotional pleading as she delivers her verdict. She looks Eric directly in the eyes and announces that she is resigning immediately. She is leaving Forrester Creations forever. She makes it abundantly clear that there will be no negotiations, no temporary sabbaticals, and absolutely no second chances. Her legendary tenure at the renowned fashion house has officially, permanently, and irrevocably come to an end. She does not hold back as she verbally eviscerates Eric for his actions. She tells him that his disgusting, public betrayal and vicious berating of hope was the absolute last straw for her loyalty. She points a trembling finger at the discarded badge on the desk and states that she has endured decades of Forrester judgment, elitist condescension, and blatant double standards, but she will never, ever allow a Forrester to publicly abuse her child. Eric's live stream was not just a catastrophic PR disaster. It was the definitive death knell of Brooke's allegiance to his family. Ridge, suddenly realizing the catastrophic, world-altering magnitude of what is happening before his eyes, immediately steps forward. He reaches out to Brooke, his eyes wide with genuine panic, heartbreak, and desperation. The man who has shared 9 marriages and 8 divorces with this woman desperately tries to play the voice of reason. He pleads with his beloved Logan to stop, to take a breath, and to think about what she is doing. He frantically reminds her of their destiny, their shared history, and the magnificent empire they have built together through countless trials. Brooke turns her piercing gaze to Ridge, and for the first time in their long, tumultuous history, he sees no warmth, no romantic longing, and no submission in her eyes. She swiftly pulls her arm away from his desperate grasp, rejecting his physical touch. She tells Ridge with a heartbreaking but firm clarity that this is no longer about their complicated romantic history. This is not about their endless, exhausting cycle of marriages and divorces. This is about a mother protecting her child from a family that has grown far too arrogant, too entitled, and far too cruel. She delivers the ultimate, crushing blow to Ridge's ego and to the Forrester legacy. Brooke states with unwavering conviction and a voice that shakes the very foundation of the room that her ultimate loyalty does not belong to the Forrester name. It never truly did, despite her best efforts to assimilate. "My loyalty belongs to Logan Blood," she declares fiercely, her words ringing through the executive office with absolute certainty. She is actively choosing her daughter, her sisters, and her own lineage over the suffocating, demanding grip of the Forrester dynasty. Brooke is not just resigning her position, she is declaring an all-out, scorched-earth war against the men standing before her. She looks back and forth between Eric and Ridge, promising them with chilling calmness that they have just made the greatest, most fatal mistake of their entire lives. She vows to take every single ounce of her unparalleled industry knowledge, her decades of closely guarded insider secrets, her unmatched public relations expertise, and her legendary global reputation straight to Katie's rival fashion house. Her threat is vivid, detailed, and utterly terrifying to the Forrester men. She promises Eric that she will pour her entire soul, her boundless energy, and her massive influence into the Hope by Logan brand. She will use her extensive network to poach their most lucrative buyers, dominate their media space, and outshine their designs on every single international runway. From Paris to Milan to New York, Brooke vows to systematically dismantle Eric's beloved empire and help Hope and Katie utterly crush Forrester Creations into the ground. Eric and Ridge are left completely paralyzed in stunned, horrifying silence. The color drains from their faces as they realize the catastrophic magnitude of their miscalculation. They have not just lost an iconic employee or a beloved, albeit complicated, family member. They have actively weaponized the most formidable, connected, and driven woman in the entire fashion industry against themselves. By attacking Hope, they have awakened a sleeping, fiercely protective dragon, and she is now breathing unquenchable fire upon their legacy. Brooke turns on her designer heel, her elegant silhouette perfectly framed by the panoramic windows overlooking the sprawling city of Los Angeles. She walks out of the executive office with her head held high, her posture radiating an absolute, intoxicating sense of power and liberation. The heavy wooden doors click shut behind her, sealing the tomb on her Forrester era with a resounding thud. She is no longer Brooke Logan Forrester, the compliant, endlessly forgiving wife and employee. She is Brooke Logan, the fierce matriarch going to war for her family. When the news of Brooke's explosive resignation and her terrifying declaration of war reaches the Logan offices, the landscape of the industry will fundamentally and permanently shift. Hope, who has been suffering severe panic attacks and crushing, debilitating guilt over alienating her mother, will be infused with unimaginable strength. The realization that her mother is not only forgiving her, but actively joining her on the front lines will transform Hope's deep-seated fear into an unstoppable, victorious determination. As Brooke steps out of the Forrester building and into the bright, unforgiving California sun, a new, unprecedented era begins. The most brutal, ruthless, and deeply personal family war in the entire history of the fashion industry has officially been ignited. The battle lines are no longer blurred by lingering romance or shared history. It is a clear, definitive battle of Forrester versus Logan, winner takes all, and Brooke Logan is fiercely leading the charge to ensure that her bloodline reigns absolutely supreme.